Hello, and welcome to the Green Mountain Pug Rescue video presentation for Business 401. We chose the Green Mountain Pug Rescue because it was a nonprofit LLC that provided internal records and financial documentation at a moment's notice. The Green Mountain Pug Rescue is an organization compiled of 7 board members and 60 volunteers that are spread out all over the state of Vermont. There is no geographical location for a headquarters, as board members and volunteers are spread out all over the state. They cater to the needs of pug and pug mix breeds of canines within the northern New England and upstate New York regions. As you can tell, the niche market for a pug rescue is a pug. The breed itself requires a little more education, care, and understanding than a lot of other canines. And you just can't resist a face like that. The board member hierarchy is as follows: Helen Brya as President and Adoption Coordinator, Julie Douglas as VP and Foster Coordinator, Phil Douglas as the Treasurer, Amy Rothenberger as Website and Social Media, Gloria Lamore as Promotions Coordinator, Kelly Mazzella as Secretary, and Jen Sagai as the final board member. They are also looking to include Neil Kelly and Dave LeBou soon. That's why they're listed here. But the current board member setup is 7 board members in total and over 60 volunteers to follow suit. Communication internally within the organization, or in most cases between board members and volunteers, is utilized through email, social media, Facebook and Instagram, cell phones through FaceTime and texting, Skype video chat. The technology that's used by the GMPR involves social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram. The GMPR website is also another outlet. GPS is utilized for coordinators, adoption coordinators that are going out on location can share their GPS location for safety. It's also used for remote location customers to inform the organization of their current location as well. This is just an advantage to technology that can be utilized by the organization as a whole. Electronic email is the main route of communication within the organization. Not all board members utilize texting and require email notifications in order to communicate on the day-to-day operations of the organization. Electronic payments can be found on the GMPR website, where potential customers and donations can be taken in by the organization and processed all electronically through safe and secure methods. And adoption fees and such are also encouraged to be processed through the website as well, but they will take check or a credit card as well for process. Internet chatting and FaceTime interviewing. This goes back to geographical limitations of Vermont. It's a mountainous environment. We have many different seasons, such as snow, rain, sleet, ice, you name it, it's here. Sometimes that makes on-site interviewing processes more challenging, and to use an alternative outlet of FaceTime or Skype interviewing as an alternative can greatly increase the efficiency of the organization and cut down on time. Networking technologies can involve the financial data that's pulled for the organization, the budget alignment, and the bylaw documentation that the organization relies on a day-to-day operation basis. Communication externally is utilized through website, email, social media, via phone, or Skype. The GMPR puts out a newsletter that is put out monthly that includes educational information, adoption lists, health concerns, things that they've learned, just general knowledge sharing within the organization and externally by volunteers that have emailed in as well. The meeting minutes go out monthly to all board members and particular volunteers within the organization as well. The meeting minutes can involve budget adjustments, financial data as well, the community events that are upcoming potential, and just day-to-day operational discussions. The social media communication that's utilized includes history of the organization, events, photos, video, bios, bulletin boards, community events, images, you name it, it's on social media, it's able to be shared, and it is I wouldn't say a duplicate of the Green Mountain Pug website, but it definitely gears customers towards the website with its overall goal. Another main source of communication is phone and FaceTime. Less FaceTime, more phone, as that is a second or third last resort situation to limitations with the geographical location of Vermont. All customers are encouraged to utilize phone conversations with volunteers or board members in order to relieve potential stress, problems, or challenges that can be encountered during the surrender or adoption process. And as a last resort, Skype interviewing, as we discussed earlier. A play-by-play analysis of an adoption lifecycle that the GMPR goes through on a day-to-day basis is as follows. The GMPR is contacted via phone, email, social media outlet, or any other avenue by a potential surrender customer. They're guided to the GMPR website where they can fill out a surrender form. If no internet access is available, an adoption coordinator will have extensive phone conversations to make sure that before sending someone out to pick up the canine that they are 100% sure that the surrender of the pug will take place, which then kicks off a volunteer coordinator or an adoption coordinator to go out on location and pick up the pug once the surrender form has been completed. Once the dog is brought back to either the volunteer's home or one of the board members' home, a health assessment and records are updated, and one of the physicians that is regionally located close to the pug will assess the animal, and the needs of the pug will be addressed from that point on within the organization and documented clearly. Once that documentation has been completed, a social media profile has been built out by Amy Rothenberger and placed on the Facebook website along with the GMPR with an image of the animal and a description as follows. The pug is placed up for adoption, and the records and health screening information has been documented and sent over to the secretary as well for bookkeeping. From then on, the pug is listed as an active pug up for adoption that is being cared for in a foster home by one of the 60 volunteers that are spread out all over Vermont. Sometimes animals that require more needs or have more health concerns are coupled with a more fitting member of the organization that can take a little more time and care for the animal, or maybe it's a young, lively pug that just requires a lot of attention, so you place them with a foster family that has lots of children that the animal doesn't get bored. Once that has been established, the next step is for a potential adoption family to view the profile of the animal, go to one of the social events for pug rescues, or go to the GMPR website to view the profile as well, fill out the documentation, apply for adoption, and then go through the adoption coordinator process of scheduling an in-home visit, where assessment of the family, the dynamic of the family, the financial stability of the family, and the location of the residence are all considered to make sure that the right fit for the pug is being met, or all the needs of the pug are being met by that specific family applying. Once that's been established, approval is granted by the president or the VP, and payment is basically required at that time, whether that's electronically, check or charge. It's taken in many different ways. Once that's been completed, the pug is delivered to the home by an adoption coordinator. Happy customer, happy Green Mountain Pug Rescue. The documentation from that time period is then processed by the secretary, and a synopsis is published in the meeting minutes, which goes out on a monthly or quarterly basis. And that is an adoption life cycle in general. Through extensive information sharing, we encountered some of the disadvantages to current organizational structure. Email communication and the breakdown between board members has been noted as one of the top 5 issues the organization is facing. Days or weeks go by without email notification being sent out or received based off of an original email. Lacks in bylaw following between board members, abuse of position within the board, or lack thereof lack of participation as a board member is also been placed at the forefront as an issue. Siloed departments can be viewed as decisions within the organization are completed without the board's approval, superseding the design of the structure in its entirety. Geographical territory barriers such as mountains and weather, and intergenerational conflict, which caters to the difference in age between the board members in general, which is ranging from 26 years old all the way up to 70. Bylaw breakdown is as follows. Board members are held accountable by written bylaws created by the founder to keep the organizational structure intact. The main route of communication between organizational members is through email, and also the largest pain point within the organization as well. Communication is written in the bylaws as needing efficient, timed responses, and in many cases, these bylaws are not followed, with a lapse in days, if not longer, for response times. It's been known that certain board members are absent from participation in events Through the bylaws, each board member is required to do 2 to 4 events on a yearly basis in order to keep their position within the organization. The 2 to 4 company events can be any type of social event that's set up by the organization that you can view on the GMPR website or one of the Facebook events that are listed as well. Through the inefficiency of email, timeliness of communication has left some duties incomplete or decisions left in limbo that could potentially be at risk for the safety of one of the canines being rescued. Some of the improvements that we suggest for the organizational structure include cross-department training, which can improve task execution, can improve your time management skills, can decrease the amount of time needed for decision making. For example, if non-responsive board members are not present, if there's a backup board member that has the training and the knowledge for that particular expertise, they can fill in as a substitute. This also can increase the potential for a promotion if you are learning the duties of another position within the organization. In this case, we recommended a boundaryless organizational structure where some of the pain points have suggested a decreased reliance on a vertical structure, which can promote more flexibility within the workplace. It does increase the responsibility for each board member, but it also holds them accountable in many cases as well. It can also increase the team effort and improve the flow of information within the organization. One of the larger core competencies that the GMPR has are social media outlets. The utilization of Instagram, Facebook, email, electronic email, has allowed the GMPR to remain relevant and differentiate themselves from any of the other local organizations by catering to potential and future Green Mountain Pug Rescue customers, along with appealing to potential surrender clients as well. They are constantly relevant. Calendar is always up to date. Community events are always listed. It's very uplifting, wholehearted communications and outlets, and possible email, phone is always provided for potential customers to increase communication in general. Some of the geographical barriers of where the Green Mountain Pug Rescue are located. You can see that the home office is generally located. There are several board members in the Burlington-Essex Junction area of the state of Vermont. The circles on the map are the volunteer locations that are primary. I put an arrow next to a potential applicant for surrender. So this sets off a chain of events between the adoption coordinator to locate a volunteer within a geographical location that's close by in order to expedite an efficient response to as soon as the Green Mountain Pug Rescue is notified of a possible surrender. They view that as a time frame. The sooner that they can get that animal out of that residence, the better for the pug or pug mix in general. The geographical barriers that are involved in that include mountainous terrain, weather, and possible healthcare needs of the pug that's being rescued. Is there a local physician nearby that can assess the animal in a timely fashion? How much travel is required for the pickup of the animal? These are all pieces of geographical barriers that need to be assessed through the adoption coordinator assigning the duty to a volunteer to assess or pick up an animal. And in general, the terrain in the state of Vermont is very mountainous, and that also needs to be taken into account through the time that's needed for transportation, for getting to and from locations given just general weather issues in the state of Vermont. The regional advantages to the Green Mountain Pug Rescue are as follows. The geographical location is spread out all over the state of Vermont. This is a huge advantage for the corporation as volunteers are and board members are both available for surrendering applicants and adoption applicants at a moment's notice. So the response time can be quick, and having a volunteer in the area of a potential surrender is crucial to getting that animal out of an unsafe or an unacceptable home and into a safe environment as quick as possible. The competitive advantage to that over other shelters is that the spread of employees allows for flexibility and efficiency throughout the organization. The quick response time and decrease on travel is advantageous for the organization as a whole, while another organization may have to travel several hundred miles in order to pick up an animal, while the Green Mountain Pug Rescue may have a volunteer close by to expedite those requests in a timely manner. The GMPR is in need of improvement. Business organizational software can iron out a lot of the inconsistencies within the board member communication. The bylaws, responsibilities, and duties could all be clearly defined in an accessible business software program that streamlines the process, the organization, and even bookkeeping to keep the company on task and up to date for all board members within the organization. Cross-department training allows for coverage when people are on vacation, blurs the lines between efficiency and deficiency, and cross-department training can also assist in future promotion within the organization. Through these improvements, the adherence to the bylaws and core values can be more strictly enforced, along with an adaptation into technology to overall improve the efficiency of the organization.
Hello everyone, my name is Abubakr Madkhali. I will be taking you through the recommendations sections of our project. The recommendations in this section are based on the observation that we made from the different sections of analysis that we did. Most importantly, we tried as much as possible to give our client new information that will be of great help to them in improving the organization. Before these recommendations, it's worth noting the key competence that we identified about GMPR organization. The key components are active participations into the local community with social event, education seasons, online presence, dedicated workforce, affordable pricing of adoptions fees of the bugs. Despite this major competence, we noted that GMPR needs to do some change because some of the outlined key competence from the previous slide are at risk of being eroded. In particular, we noted that the competence of dedicated workforce was at risk of getting ruined due, uh, due to the problems that had started showing up about the politics of the next president of the firm. The young generation and the older generation had different point of view on who was worth taking over the position. Secondly, adoption fee being charged by other similar organizations were noted to be reducing with time. Although the current adoption fee for GMBR was relatively low compared of the other similar organization in the region. This could be eroded with time as other organizations cut down on their adoption fee minorly through increased efficiencies. Thirdly, GMBR was noted by reluctant in adoption new technology. They are currently depending too much on use of social media but other methods of reaching out of the target client is needed. Based on these factors, we came up with the following recommendation. One is to improve the management of its workforce. The workforce needs another form of management so that they can be more productive and have more collaboration. The management of GMBR should ensure appropriate delegation of tasks in a way that ensure that all people have their position well defined. Currently, the organization has some employees who are considered to know everything and most decisions are based on their views. A proposed change to this aspect is to adopt a matrix organization structure. This structure has the advantage that it allows more autonomy, it has more self-management, it makes managerial roles fluid, and it is having more flexibility. This is important in the organization in diluting the power that some of the senior employees have within the organization because this has been harming the organization. The second recommendation is that the organization needs to establish strategic alliances, partnership with companies, and organizations that offer similar service. How will strategic partnership benefit GMBR? Well, GMBR is in a good position because it is a non-profit organization. Therefore, efficiency is the major issue of concern in running this organization. Strategic alliances will help in sharing resources that can be shared by the rescue organization. A good example is holding joint conventions that are of interest to the organizations. Currently, of organization runs their social events alone, which means that they pay for the associated expenses alone. Starting strategic alliances would therefore help reduce such costs through cost sharing for better efficiency. The other recommendation is to enhance vertical collaboration. As noted from our analysis, GMPR has a major problem in communication and collaboration through the hearing. This has been slowing some things in the organization down. For example, we learned that there were an instance when senior management was making decisions about adoption of some bugs in the organization without adequate information about prevailing situation about the bug. A good example was on a case where senior management member had signed a bug for adoption yet bug had developed some health issues that required medical attention for some times and thus it was not available for adoption. Such cases result when there are problems in vertical communication. To address this problem, using technology that share information in real time is necessary. This will ensure that every employee in the organization will be having updated information relating to the organization and its situation. The recommendation of using a real-time system of updating information can be further advanced through use of virtual collaboration tools. This will be important because it will ensure that employees have a wide variety of accessing the information and also communicating effectively about such issues. This will have a positive effect of easing inefficiencies in the flow of information in the organization. We also noted that GMPR does not have a well-established organization culture. As you all know, a successful organization culture brings together the people in the company and it keeps them as a choice team. When the culture is clear, different perspectives can gather behind it with common purpose. The culture of organization sets expectation for how people behave and work together and how well they function as a team. Therefore, the culture can break down the boundaries between isolated team, guide decision making, and improve workflow. The change that GMPR needs to do along this line of change is to redefine its mission and vision and set clear objective that captures what is expected of the people who work for the organization. Next, GMBR should ensure that the style of management empowers the people who work of the organization. It should avoid a strict top-down management style because it is not aspect of strong organization culture. Science employees, since employees are more protective when there is trust and someone extent of freedom, but not micromanagement. In conclusion, it was noted that GMBR is one of the organizations that is doing very good charitable work. Its existence for 16 years shows its dedications and continue to serve the community. As learned from the analysis, there are several factors that work for the organization and other that works uh, against the organization. Issues related to the organization structures, communication, use of technology, and getting of laws of the organization are critical factors for the organization. The produce a mix of strengths and weaknesses for the organization. As indicated in the recommendation section, the organization can work towards better performance through changing the organization structure, improving communication channels, refining its organizational culture, and establish strategic alliance partnership. This change, uh, this change will make the organization much better in terms of employee productivity, efficiency within the firm, and other important aspects that are important in the survival of the organization. That is the end of our presentation. It's my hope that you enjoyed. Thank you.